Hey everyone, and welcome to HotSshot.com. My name is Kalamalka, and in this video I'll be going over some positional and mechanical strategies you can use while playing ranged assassins. While ranged assassins are arguably the squishiest heroes you can choose from, they also offer the highest opportunity to carry your games and outplay your opponents. There are three components in playing ranged assassin that will help you carry your games. No matter what scenario you're in, positioning, awareness, and your damage dealt are the three key factors that are involved in winning a game. As with any ranged carry hero, it's incredibly important that you understand where your positioning should be during the lane, and of course during team fights. In the laning phase, the first question you need to address is the enemy team's composition. If they have heroes that can roam to your lane very quickly and gank you with CC like Kerrigan or Arthas or the Butcher, then it's best to stay a bit further back and reserve your cooldowns for surviving. Positioning safely doesn't mean you shouldn't be dealing damage, because the whole point of the laning phase is about pressure and about pumping damage onto your opponents. You just need to recognize what your opponent's win conditions are and play around them. In this clip here, I'm playing really aggressively in this laning phase, because I know their only way of killing me is with a Nova gank. The only way they can deal a whole bunch of damage to me is if Sonya lands an Ancient Spear, Kharazim follows it up with Radiant Dash, and Nova's there to snipe me. When I have Adrenaline Rush available, I'll position a lot closer to the enemy team so that I'm in range to do damage more frequently. With other carries, if you don't have your escape abilities, then just hang a bit further back until they become available again. It's really important to recognize where your opportunities are to deal free damage to your opponents. Right here, I'm being pressured into my towers in a 2v1 situation. I know that Sonya and Kharazim can't do very much to me if I'm in their face dealing damage, so that's exactly what I do. I'm able to get off 6 or 7 free basic attacks in conjunction with some tower shots, which allows myself in Tyrande to get a kill onto Kharazim. Afterwards, I'm playing way out of position in attempts to get Sonya to re-engage onto me. Sure enough, the spear lands, which gives me another free opportunity to score a kill and come out of the skirmish on top, 2-0. In teamfights, your goal is to be out of sight and out of mind until it's too late. If you can force your opponents to use their initiation abilities on anyone but yourself, then you're doing your job, positionally. You need to look for opportunities during the team fight when your opponents turn and run, and you need to use that as your fuel to push into the fight and start dealing more damage. This clip starts with myself being way far out of position. Without mentioning the fact that my teammates are scattered throughout the map, the situation looks pretty grim. Murden uses a Stormbolt on my Garden Terror, which puts me in a great position. I'm now able to use all of my abilities, including Strafe, to put out pressure onto the enemy team. The only way they can interrupt me is if Sylvanas uses Wailing Arrow, which onto one target would be a huge benefit for my team. I'm kiting away from the enemy team and then downwards because that's where the rest of my team is. The moment everyone shows up, I push back into the team fight so I can deal more damage. I realize that I need to stay very safe because Lily decides to stay mid instead of fighting with us. It's important to always pay attention to yours and your opponent's levels during team fights as well, because it can change during the middle of a skirmish and give you access to abilities that can score you an extra kill or keep you alive. This clip is a great example of how positioning and awareness can turn around a game. I was tilting super hard in this match because Zeratul and Leoric decided that their only goal this game was to put me in the ground, which resulted in me dying multiple times before the 10-minute mark. Without my level 20 Bolt of the Storm, if I get caught out by any of my opponent's CC abilities, I'm basically dead against this composition. My team's win condition is to stay alive through all of the enemy team's burst and deal back consistent damage. We have Zagara and Raynor and Kael'thas. That's our job. My team's win conditions were met in this team fight for the first time in the entire game, which put us onto a relatively even playing field. In fact, this was the turning point in the game, which resulted in us winning a few minutes later. As you can see in this clip, there are multiple times where you can see Leoric go in towards me to try to kill me. That's been his playstyle the entire game, and sometimes during the heat of a match, it can be difficult to pinpoint that and adapt to it. Even when choosing your talents throughout the game, it's incredibly important to consider your opponent's win conditions and build your talents around them. Like, they have the Leoric, they have the Zeratul, I'm going to die at some point. So I chose Arcane Barrier at level 16 to keep myself alive, and of course I would take Bolt of the Storm at level 20 as well. Heroes of the Storm is very much about adaptation. If you're losing a game, consider both your own and your opponent's win conditions and adapt your playstyle to it accordingly. When you're playing ranged assassins specifically, always try to keep yourself alive. You can't deal damage when you're dead, which is a philosophy I live by in this game. Thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you found some useful information in this video that you can take into your own games and further your carry potential.